Welcome to Pete's Guitar Corner, when I'm not trying to be a pro skater. I'm hanging out with you, helping you learn and perfect your craft better. And as you know, we've been going through the basics of guitar, starting with the very introduction of guitar and working our way to more intermediate stuff. So last week we worked on a couple finger exercises. We also did some best practices in regards to our guitars and how to hold them and how to hold our picks and all that. And this week we're just going to do a recap real quick of the finger exercises. We're also going to go through some differences between overdrive and distortion, and we're also going to learn a chord, and then we're going to learn the chord G. Let's go ahead and recap on our last finger exercises right now, and then we'll get into the other stuff. Let's go. Alright, so the first finger exercise we're going to cover is the spider. And if you remember, you can do it anywhere on the fretboard, but I recommend doing it up on the higher frets. It'll make it a little bit easier. So let's go ahead and review that real quick. So pick anywhere up here and put 4 fingers on your frets. And so what you're going to do is you're going to move these fingers and then these fingers, and you're going to alternate which strings these fingers land on. So excuse me, you're going to start with these fingers first, okay, then those ones, and those ones, then those ones, and those ones, and back like that. Okay, so let's do it one more time. So those ones, and those ones, those ones, and those ones, those ones, back up. Alright, not as easy as it looks, and so go ahead and give it a shot. Alright, so the other finger exercise we worked on was the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go ahead and review that real quick. Let me grab my pick. There's my pick. Okay, so what we're going to do is going to do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the first 4 frets on each string. So we'll start with the top string here. So you're doing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and remember that you're picking alternately. So you're picking up and down on each one you hit. So 0. So you're going to go all the way up and all the way back down. So let's do that real quick. Back down. And that's a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go ahead and go through the differences between overdrive and distortion. So you hear those terms and sometimes they're used interchangeably, but we're going to go through the definitions of what they are. So overdrive is a simulation of an amp when it's of its warmth and when it starts to get turned up on the gain side. But the difference between the overdrive and the distortion is overdrive tends to be have a little warmer overtones, so it's not as harsh and it's not as in your face as distortion would be. And so my overdrive pedal is the Ibanez TS9. Let's go ahead and turn that bad boy on. Oh, before we do that, let me go ahead and show you what it sounds like clean. And I'm in E-flat standard tuning, like always. Okay, so let's go ahead and turn this on. So here's... So as you can see, it's overdriven, and and it's still keeping its warmness. It's not as in your face as distortion is. So it's still got that warm feel to it. So you're not losing a lot of your tone in your guitar. You're still catching those notes, and you can still kind of distinguish the different notes that your guitar is making. So that's going to be your overdrive. So let's go ahead and move on to distortion. Distortion offers more gain and is more aggressive and it's more in your face than overdrive is. And you're going to get a lot more pronounced and intense, and it's going to be a real full distortion tone. So not to get too technical, but what the sound wave is doing is when you're pushing it through a pedal is you're technically clipping the sound, and so that's what's creating that distorted sound. So you're clipping it, and so when that clipping generates a distortion. So both overdrive and distortion are both clipping the sound, but both are doing it at different rates. So here's distortion, and my pedal is a Love pedal, custom effects, and I'm going to go ahead and just go straight in. So there we go. So you'll probably recognize this tone a lot. A lot of rock and roll songs will include a distortion pedal in their songs. So like Green Day's song. So if you recognize that song. So as you can see, distortion is more in your face. It's more aggressive, has a little more overtone, a little more bite to it. So if you're a rock and roller kind of like me, you'll kind of favor the distortion just a little bit more than the overdrive. But I like both. Overdrive and distortion are great. So let's go ahead and let's just do a side-by-side comparison again, just so you can hear them. So here's the overdrive. That was the overdrive. Now let's get back to the distortion. One thing you'll also notice is I can get harmonics better with distortion, better than I can do with overdrive. So with my overdrive, that harmonic isn't as pronounced. So if I turn my distortion back on, so I can get that harmonic. So distortion is more intense, so you can kind of hear the differences. So that's the differences between overdrive and distortion. Thank you very much. Right, before we dive into the world of chords, we're going to go ahead and start with learning the strings on the guitar. And normally I have my guitar in E-flat standard tuning, as I have mentioned in my videos, but I tune my guitar to E standard because I know most of you will be in that tuning. So let's go ahead and go over the strings of what that tuning is. So the first string you got here is going to be E. The second string is going to be A. Third string is going to be D as in dog. Fourth string is going to be G. Fifth string is going to be B as in boy. The last string is going to be E as in Edward. So that's your E standard tuning. You want to make sure that you memorize that. So when you go to tune your guitar, whether it's on your pedal like I have, or if you have the headstock tuner, or if you have one of the lap ones that plug into your guitar, make sure you tune it to that tuning for standard tuning. That's the most common tuning that is used. Alright, so that's E standard tuning. So let's go ahead and get started with the G chord, and that's going to be the first chord we're going to learn. And we're going to start with the most common way that I see in the guitar circles that I'm around, and we're also going to do another variation of the G chord as well. So let's start with the first way. You take your middle finger, you're putting it on the E string at the top, on the 3rd fret, okay? And then you're taking your index and putting it on the 2nd fret right below that, and then you're taking your ring finger and putting it on the 3rd fret of the E string right there on the very top. So that is G. So let's do that again. So middle finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string, your index right below that on the 2nd fret, and then your ring finger is going to go on the E string all the way at the top on the 3rd fret. So that's the first way of playing the G, and that was the most common way that I see. Alright, the second way is going to be the same place, but you're going to add a finger. So you're going to take your ring finger and you're going to move it up 1 string, so onto the B string. And then you're going to take your pinky and put it on where your ring finger was. And that's going to be the other way to play G. So again, the other way, and you're taking your ring finger and moving it up 1 string, and you're adding your pinky. And that is the G chord. Thanks so much for watching this week, and make sure you check out the show notes. I have all the things written out on my blog, so make sure you go there, and then you can see the G chord all tabbed out for you. And then also make sure you check out my show notes for the previous episodes, and also product recommendations if you're just starting out for picks, cables, and all the accessory needs you have. And make sure you hit me up in the comments section. Let me know what you're learning, where you're at, and how you're progressing, and let me know if there's anything you'd like me to cover. And also let me know what kind of guitar you have. What are you playing? And I mean, I play my Strat that I made. What are you playing? All right. And then also make sure you like and subscribe, and remember that we're starting off with beginners, but intermediate guitars, I'm coming for you. So stay tuned. We are going to get into intermediate stuff. I did want to start off with beginners because I know that a lot of beginners have made resolutions this year, and so I wanted to make sure I start off with them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
Adios.